Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some culture shocks that I experienced in Spain. So for context, this summer I had a chance to visit Spain for a few days, and I was in Madrid for about a week or something, and then I was in Barcelona for a few days as well. So I visited the two major cities in Spain, and here are some culture shocks or some experiences that I had experienced that sort of like stood out for me. So the first day I arrived in Spain at the airport, and then I called an Uber to like take me to the place I'll be staying. And I got an Uber driver who was very old that it sort of like shocked me. Like the idea that people in their old age are still working was a big culture shock for me because where I'm from, like retirement is like very early on. So I really did not expect to see like such an old man to be working, and even more so to be working as an Uber driver because where I'm from, Uber driver is the kind of job that people who are sort of like unemployed or people who just don't know what to do with their time, they do. Like Uber driving is a very like low reputation kind of job in my country. So I was shocked to see this reputable old man doing Uber driving as his career. And it did look like his career because even in the car he had like multiple phones. So it looked like a serious business to him because he had like multiple phones with different applications. So I think maybe he's taking like clients from like Uber, Bolt and stuff like that. So that was a shocker. In the same line, I was also very shocked to see like how many older people are out there in the streets living their good life. Like, I mean, I'm not saying they're not supposed to be out there, but I mean, like, I was shocked because in my country, like, you barely see older people in like major cities. Like, it's sort of like a culture here where like people tend to like move to like places outside the city or like more remote areas during like their old age to like sit there, which is why you barely find like old people in like city streets here in my country. And I'm from Tanzania, Dar es Salaam. And yeah, but also maybe the life expectancy here is not as high. So I was really shocked to like see that many old people in like city centers because what? You could still have fun in your 80s, 70s? That was a shocker for me. Another experience that sort of like shocked me, but also I loved it, is like how well the everything is integrated, like the pedestrian and like the cars integration, like they're very, and I think this is for like all over most of European cities. I like how it's very much like they have like good working areas, like you could easily walk everywhere because the infrastructure allows for that. I mean, in my country, being a pedestrian feels like a crime because there's barely good infrastructure for you to like walk alongside the roads, and the cars be honing like every 2 seconds. Like it's a mess here being a pedestrian. So like I really love the integration in most of European cities, especially Spain, like with the cars and like you have pedestrians roads. It's say you have like bike roads in some other cities. That's very nice. It's like it's very refreshing because you could easily walk everywhere, which is good for you. And like here where I'm from, like feels like it's a crime to walk. Like it's crazy, it's madness. Another culture shock that I experienced in Spain, and this was in Madrid, I think I was really shocked about how safe it felt. Even like walking from the clubs in the middle of the night by myself back to my place. And I think this shocked me so much because from like looking online, people sort of like tend to emphasize on how risky Spain can be, on how risky. I mean, like they frame Spain in such a light that it looks very dangerous. It looks not like a safe place. But I was really shocked because I felt safe almost everywhere I go, and I was going to clubs and stuff, and nothing bad happened to me. I was walking from clubs back to my place, and nothing happened to me. And also maybe because, and I was walking because it was very close enough. Like it was like an 8-10 minutes walking distance. And I remember the first time that I had to walk, I was like anxious. I was like, oh my God, what if something happens? Because everyone says Spain is not safe. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just walk and see how it goes. Like, I'm going to experience this for myself. And then I did that, and it felt so safe, and nothing happened. And I've done that a number of times, and it was very nice to like see that for a change. Another culture shock that I've experienced in Spain is like the personality expression. I got this feeling like in Spain, people are very much free to like express their personality through like clothing, fashion sense, and stuff like that. Because even just by walking on the road, you could see like a lot of different people. So that was sort of like nice because it didn't feel like people were like abiding to something. It felt like everyone was just like living their true self. And that was refreshing to see because In my country, like societal standards are very strict. Like people have a lot of expectations on other people and they sort of like expect you to live by them. So just seeing a place where people like sort of like express themselves freely and it felt like a society where people can like be free about it. I'm not sure if that's true, but at least that's what it looked like. So I was also shocked by the number of beggars I had interacted with on the streets, especially because I think Spain is one of the countries that has like a good social system. So it's sort of like shocked me or surprised me in a way, like, why would you still have beggars on the streets if the country has good social systems? So yeah, I don't know why that happens, but that was very confusing to me because in my small brain, my assumption is that when the social systems are good, then like everyone, whether you're employed or unemployed, the government or like your institution something could like find a way to sort of like mitigate that for its people. So it was a bit surprising that for countries that have like good social systems like Spain and other European countries, it was a bit shocking to like still find beggars on the streets. Another culture shock I'd experienced is the fact that you literally see police everywhere every 5 seconds. That was a big culture shock for me because I'm not understanding like, is it that the police everywhere because the crime rates are high, or is it that the police everywhere because they just police everywhere? I don't know because I feel like Spain was one of the European countries that I've seen the most police everywhere. Like it feels like every 5 working minutes you're gonna find a policeman somewhere, like a police car somewhere. And it was like a bit like, why? Why? So I don't know, I was shocked like here in my country you barely see policemen going around. Like I'm not even used to seeing policemen going around. I feel like even our police don't even do enough practice because like there's almost nothing to do. But like in Spain, I like came across police like every 5 seconds. But also it was a bit like surprising that they also seemed a bit more friendly than what my perception of police is. I don't know. So those both of them, the two ideas were a bit shocking to me. And another thing that shocked me would be like how much their system or like everywhere you go, they have like a good integration with like supporting people with disability or like reduced mobility, as they would call it. So that was also refreshing to see because I feel like my country is very much non-movable if you have like a lot of disability. Like we don't like integrate that very well, and maybe it's like a learning curve in a way. But it was very refreshing to see like even like if you go to hotels, they have like special facilities for like people with disability. Also sometimes you could go to like restaurants or just be on the streets and you could see people with their friends and family who have disability in a way. I feel like that was like a good integration and inclusion. Like I loved how people with reduced mobility were still integrated in like their everyday life, because where I'm from it feels like, I don't know, like you barely see people with disability. And in most cases, if you see people with disability, you see them as beggars on the streets, like it's that bad. And even like families sometimes feel ashamed to like work with their relatives or siblings who have disabilities. So because of that, they like keep them in like, they just leave them at home. Like in most cases, here, if someone has a disability, they'll most likely just be staying at home like 90%, 95% of the time, because even the family to a certain degree they're like ashamed to like, I don't know, there's a lot of stigma around disability, so to say, in my country. So it was a shock to like see how that's not a stigma in other countries and how still people with disability are still integrated in like their everyday lives. It was beautiful, I swear. It was beautiful, and I wish more countries sort of like adapt that and integrate that, because like having a disability is not supposed to be the end of somebody's life, and we should just remove this stigma around like people with disability and stuff. So that shocked me, but also taught me a very lovely lesson. A major shock for me was the nude beach. Like I've never been to nude beach before visiting Spain, and even how I end up in this nude beach is even more shocking because I had not planned to go to nude beach. I was just going to the beach in Barcelona, yeah, and I arrived there and I was like, you know what, this other side is very crowded. I'll go to the other side, which looks less crowded. So I went to the other side just because I didn't want that many people, I wanted to choose a place that had like less people. So I went to the other side of the beach. And the amount of nudity I see, I was like, where am I? What the hell is happening? So it took me like the first 5 minutes to like just compress myself and like adjust the situation because I was wearing my swimsuits, of course, and they're like, "What's happening here?" It's sort of like had like an internal freak out in a minute. But after that, I sort of like enjoyed it. Like I just enjoyed how freeing it felt. At some point, I was even like debating like undressing myself and just being nude myself as well because it felt so freeing. So the first day I went, I just thought about it, but I didn't do it because my thoughts were still like my head could not be wrapped around the whole idea of like being naked in front of people publicly. But it just shocked me so much because first I never knew of that idea that you could have like a public nude beach, but also because I can assume that happening in my country, God, like I feel like that will never happen in my country because there's a lot of stigma around like dress codes. Like even just wearing a two-piece swimsuit, some people are still very uncomfortable with that. Now imagine telling them to go naked on the beach. Like how much work would that take? So it was very freeing to like get to experience that. And I love Spain so much. I even learned the language and I still love Spain. And this trip has made my love for Spain just keeps on increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing. So I really can't wait to visit Spain again. And I'm very curious to know like if anyone here has been to Spain before or if you're from there, like what are the things that sort of like shocked you the first time that you went there? Or what's the thing that people in Spain do that doesn't really make sense to you or you just love it so much? I don't know. I'm just curious to like hear different thoughts, different ideas from different people. Let me know in the comments down below. Until next time, adios.